Earlier this month, the owner for one of the most reputable gaming sites out there, Andy Robinson of Video Games Chronicle, said that he's not expecting Nintendo to do anything in the late May, early to June window when we usually get those E3-like events. And since this statement, many have started to think that there won't be a Nintendo Direct this summer. Well, I think there still will be a Nintendo Direct this summer. And there's actually a lot of reasons why. So that's what we're talking about today.
Hey, listen!
Welcome everyone, this is Andre's Restart, and this time we're going to be talking about a summer Nintendo Direct. But before we go further, let me remind you that we are aiming to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you do enjoy my content, please subscribe and hit the notification bell, and we'll see what the future holds. Now, the exact statement from Andy Robinson was on May 8th, and this is what he tweeted out. I also heard a Sony showcase is happening in the usual late May, early June window, with Konami stuff included. I'm not expecting Nintendo to do anything. So from this, many people have extrapolated that there is no plans for a Nintendo Direct as there usually is around this time of the year. And I do think what Andy Robinson is saying here is that he's actually heard that there won't be a Nintendo Direct. That's what I personally surmise from what he's saying. He would have actual sources, he would know what's actually going on, or at the very least, he hasn't got any sources indicating that there will be a Direct. So it's possible that maybe Nintendo's keeping this close to their chest. A Nintendo Direct could somehow be announced in that early June time, even though Andy Robinson hasn't heard anything. However, there's another reputable journalist, Jeff Grubb, who has echoed these thoughts. He quote tweeted Andy Robinson and said, "I'm with Andy. I expect a series of smaller tweets and YouTube drops if anything. But unlike last year, that's just speculation." So what Jeff Grubb is alluding to here is that last year he talked about there just being a series of smaller tweets and YouTube drops, but that was something he actually heard. This time, he's just speculating, he does not know. But regardless, with both of these people who are very credible, who have good information, with them indicating that we should maybe not be expecting a June Nintendo Direct, why am I making this video speculating on a summer Nintendo Direct? Well, you may have already noticed that my wording is choice. I am saying a summer Nintendo Direct, which encompasses more than just early June, but all of June, all of July, and August as well. Because I don't necessarily disagree with what they're saying, but a lot of people are taking what they're saying and then going the whole mile thinking there's just not a Nintendo Direct happening anytime soon, and we're just going to get maybe like a partner showcase or a few shadow drops, and that's going to be enough for us until September. Firstly, because E3 has been cancelled, Nintendo doesn't have to hold themselves to that scheduling. So as a result, they can be more flexible. They don't have to do it in the beginning of June as they have done throughout most years. The moment Nintendo announced that they wouldn't be having a presence at E3, this was expected. But perhaps the bigger concern isn't so much that we might not get a Direct in early June, because I'm sure most of you are okay with waiting a few more weeks. It's more about the potential issue of us just getting like a Nintendo Direct mini partner showcase, or just a couple social media announcements. Now, the issue with something like the things I've mentioned is that it would suggest that there isn't really much to announce. And the problem with not announcing too much is, well, after Tears of the Kingdom, the only game we have slated officially that's publicly known is Pikmin 4 this July. And that's just not going to cut it. I'm going to enjoy Pikmin 4. It may be my big, awesome game to play and enjoy for July, but what about the rest of the year? Nintendo is not just going to stop. Especially if you believe Switch 2 isn't even coming out this year, they're going to need to have games coming out throughout the year to continue to push sales for both hardware and their software if they have any sort of hopes of coming close to their sales forecast for the year. So the games are going to keep coming, and even if they didn't care about the sales for this year, they want to maintain momentum, they want to maintain excitement going into their next generation, which many are suggesting is likely happening next year. So with that reasoning alone, I think it's safe to assume that there will be games coming. And unlike last year, where all we did get was a direct mini partner showcase, which is just a few third-party announcements and a Xenoblade Direct, more information on a game we already knew about, we don't know about much for this year. Last year we knew about Pokemon coming out, Xenoblade, Mario Rabbids, Splatoon, Bayonetta, We already had a strong understanding of the second half lineup before the summer last year. This time, we don't know. So I really don't think it's just going to be a couple smaller tweets and a YouTube drop or anything like that. We need something more substantial. But there's a few other considerations to be made here. Gamescom is coming this August. Nintendo hasn't been to Gamescom in 4 years. Last time that they had Gamescom, there were several new games that they had for demonstration. I don't think they're just going to attend Gamescom after a 4-year hiatus with no new games to play. If they're just going to be bringing in old games that most of us have played already, it's possible, but it would be a real head scratcher, especially with everything else I've already mentioned. And something I haven't mentioned yet is that there's also the Nintendo Live event that's coming this September. And while I think a better argument can be made that Nintendo Live might just be a compilation of old games, it still might have good games, so it is something that's at least worth mentioning. Going into rumor territory though, and by the way, what Andy Robinson and Jeff Grubb said are also rumors. We don't know what's going to happen. This is rumor and speculation. But Nate the Hate, another industry insider, has said that he's heard that Metroid Prime 4 could be coming out this year, and a few other unannounced games as well. And we still have the rumored F-Zero and Paper Mario games. Could one of those be real? I think the F-Zero one's been fairly backed by a number of people. The Paper Mario one's a little bit more shaky, but still, there's at least F-Zero, maybe Metroid Prime 4. Pikmin 4 is going to be great, but there's got to be more. I also would be totally shocked if we go through this entire year without some type of Mario game announcement. With the Mario movie and all the success it's had, that Mario movie is going to give such a boost to the next Mario game, but the longer they wait, the less effective that's going to be. So, I feel like there's probably got to be some type of Mario game to come out in the second half. And going beyond that, at some point, we need to get information on the Pokemon DLC, which Pokemon Company may do on their own. It doesn't have to happen in a direct. Usually, it doesn't happen in a direct, actually. But also, what about Wave 5 for the Mario Kart DLC? We gotta learn more about that. And is Tears of the Kingdom going to have any sort of DLC? Potentially, that could be shown off in the next big direct. So, my belief is that there will be some type of series of announcements this summer. I think most likely there will still be a direct. Maybe it is a partner showcase and a series of shadow drops, but I just find that unlikely. What I think makes the most sense is that there's going to be a direct, pretty much in the way we would expect one, but this show won't happen until a little bit later into the summer. I think Nintendo's not going to do it in early June, maybe late June or early July. I mentioned August as a possibility earlier in this video, but upon thinking on it just a little bit more, I don't think that's really likely. When you consider that typically every year we get a September Nintendo Direct, once mid-July comes around and there hasn't been any major direct announcement, at that point I think they would wait for a big direct until the September time as they usually have it, and maybe just have some sort of social media drops or something like that to stave things off until then. But that September direct isn't meant to be the mid-year direct, it is the end of the year direct. There's usually a series of mid-year announcements, and as we discussed throughout this video, there is a need to make those announcements. So I'm thinking really early July is the latest this direct would come. Something that could happen that might derail the possibility of a direct in the timing I'm thinking is if Nintendo makes their announcement for the next generation system. Now, I'm not sure it's going to happen this summer, but if it is to come this year, I expect that to be announced this summer, and then maybe there's some sort of special event, maybe they still call it a direct, where they showcase games for this system. But given that most insiders and most sites are suggesting that there's a likelihood it's coming out next year, this new system, I'm not really fully banking on there being a Nintendo Switch 2 event this summer, but I'm not going to completely rule it out either, because we just don't know, and Nintendo has cleared the slate for some reason. They rushed out Future Redeemed for some reason. They rushed out Prime Remastered for some reason. Maybe the reason is just because of scheduling or something that hasn't been considered here. Maybe it has to do with Prime 4, or maybe it's just about getting things out before Tears of the Kingdom, because we're all going to be playing Tears of the Kingdom for weeks to come. I'm still playing it now, and it's amazing. I will be playing it for a long time. But I'm mentioning it here as a possibility. The slate has been cleared. Maybe there's something this summer, or we're just getting a direct, and we'll get that by early July. But what do you guys think? let me know in the comments below. This is Andres Restart, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.